Hello. In today's conversation, I'm really excited to talk to Greta Tsahkna, who is the CEO and founder of Timbeter and hold various leadership positions as it relates to Estonia's innovation and digital society matters. Anna, welcome to this conversation. Tell us more about your entrepreneurial journey, and specifically what motivated you to build Timbeter.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It's a great pleasure. And I, in a way, hope to see you again soon in Estonia. But yeah, so my journey started a bit more than 10 years ago. And at the time, I was working for the largest software development company in the region. We were building all kinds of digital governance solutions in Estonia as well in Middle East and Africa. And I was invited to take part of the hackathon, and hackathon was dedicated to women, or the intention was to have a high number of female participants, and therefore I was invited. And I went there and I wanted to build up something, very practical during the weekend, not to just waste my time. And I ended up in a team that decided to build up a solution that helps to measure timber quickly and accurately and also manage all the data digitally. And this is how everything started. And when we started in the beginning, it was all about like efficiency and reducing time spent on this manual operations and not losing any data. But very quickly, we understood that this impact is much wider. So it really helps to make much better decisions when it comes to the logistics, production, as well as sustainable forest management. So we see that this industry really needs to go this kind of digital transformation, go through the digital transformation because it really helps them to make much better decisions in all the fields. And to just maybe very easily told what we are doing is that then we are using AI to bring efficiency, transparency, and traceability to the forestry and timber sector.
Yeah, I when I first met you and I saw the product, I mean, it was, as you said, it solved a clear problem. It was, I think, early adopter used computer vision and many of these techniques before even sort of people start talking about computer vision. And you were already focusing on a problem related to biodiversity, sustainability. Timber obviously is very important. Like, tell the audience, like, why is timber important and why is it hard to like, understand what we have, and why it's a good use case for machine learning, for example.
Yeah, maybe it's just important to note that this illegal logging is one of the top three crimes around the world. So a lot of the timber is actually originating from illegal sources, and it's very hard to track. So in some cases it's up to 30%, but in some cases it might be even up to 90% according to the Interpol. So this is a reason as well that when we talk about deforestation, the more transparency we have in this sector, the less deforestation, the less pressure for harvesting of the natural woods we actually have. And as timber is a very sustainable material for building up wooden houses, for example, then we really have to find the balance in this sector, make it more transparent and efficient. And what we have seen as well is that it tends to be this kind of, let's say, traditional sector, but COVID really changed the game in a way that there were, of course, like restrictions on the field. So what we could see that there was like much more openness during the COVID and after the COVID for these digital tools that really help to understand what is actually going on the field, to control all of the activities and to have really understanding what's happening in real time. And yeah, so we can be called like this kind of traditional AI, so machine learning and computer vision. But I think after this AI boom, it's easier for us as well to explain what we do because people simply have more trust towards the AI. And even in Estonia, there's only 1.3 million of us. And this kind of skeptics have seen what is AI capable of in terms of, answering their questions and providing any solutions. So therefore, I think all these waves are somehow helping these digital tools to be quickly adopted in all the sectors.
Yeah, and it started was like first it was I remember, you show me that here's all the timber, like all the piles and all the things. Like how do we know how much we have? And in the old days it was I guess someone counting how many logs and things, and you're able to use machine learning and computer vision to help digitize that process, and then there are other use cases related to that were established, and so foundationally it's about data and being able to allow people to have trustworthy data about an asset, about a commodity that is actually very important input
Mhm.
to construction, to understanding what we have, to understand deforestation, where these lumber come from, and who owns them, and where are they going. Um, so in that journey, and you have Timbeter is being used by customers around the world. Um, how did that happen? Your small company, innovative company from Estonia, but you have customers all over the world.
Well, I guess the main thing was that we really started, how to say, marketing and this telling what we do and how we help customers to solve their problems from the very, very early on. And we did it in many languages. So not only English, but also Spanish and Portuguese to also target the Latin American market. Because we instantly, when we launched our solution globally back in 2016, we saw interest coming from Brazil. And I think in a way, really like giving this touch that, a small sawmill is similar, whether it's in Estonia or it's in Brazil, having this kind of similar problems and can solve the issues using the technology. So that was very, very important. And until now, it's very much inbound. So we see that companies are downloading our solution. We help them to understand how to solve their use cases. We help them this kind of understanding, like how the data should be as well, like how they can use the data for any other second level, so to say, decision making. And this also has been very funny in a way that there are like really large companies who kind of approach you and then you aren't afterwards understand like how big is the company behind this one download. So the best companies we really work now is for example from Chile and from Brazil. And it doesn't really matter what is the distance, but if you have this kind of openness, if you have this kind of attitude to use the technology to solve the issues, then, you can do everything. It's all about actually having this kind of open mindset.
Yeah. And you were alluding to a little bit about now there's sort of Gen AI, generative AI and so forth. But for the, at the time for the particular problem you're solving, I thought it was a perfect use case of using machine learning, computer vision, combine that with capturing the data right way, really having that domain expertise to build something for the people who are legally getting these lumber and want to track their assets and do other things. And so that's incredible to hear. How many countries is Timberter being used?
So currently something about 50 countries. So
Wow.
we've seen as well like this really interest from different places. So the quickest growing markets for us lately has been mostly Latin America and Africa. And of course, Europe tends to be a bit slower, but still things are happening here. And we are working with the state forests. So again, maybe something which is not very usual for the startups to start working with the governments, but as well, they are one of the major forest owners. So definitely, I see that. It's worth of this patience you need to have to go through all of these processes and procurements and everything. And of course, it's all about as well regulation. So it's not only about technology, but everything around that. And what I've definitely seen as well is like you need to have a lot of patience in this field to make things happen. And very often, startups say is that the market was not ready yet. The market is never ready, but you need to have the patience actually
Yeah.
to make things happen. And in Estonia, when we started, actually, one old wise guys told me that the tree grows for 100 years, so you cannot expect quick changes within the years. And that's true. But at the same time, there are markets where the timber grows, for example, for 16 years or 20 years, and therefore they are much more open actually for the new innovative technologies to be used.
I think that's great advice. And building a company that um, has longevity and it can increase its impact over time, as you have done, because you're in 50 countries, used
Mhm.
by many different people and owners and work in the industry. And that's big impact. So let's talk about Estonia. Um, and I love Estonia. I've been there a couple of times. I think Estonia is very interesting in building its technology ecosystem. You were very early in the digital identity innovation. You had the e-residency for entrepreneurs and around the world to come to Estonia to innovate together, work together, to collaborate. And you have leadership role at ITL Estonia, and you're a member of the supervisory board of E-Governance Academy. Tell us more about those organizations, and you work broadly around entrepreneurship, digital societies.
Yeah, so ITL is the association that is uniting all the Estonian IT companies. And I think Estonia, especially in that regard, that in the end of 90s, we really started to build up our this digital society. And it was really caused by the fact that after the collapse of Soviet Union, we didn't have much, we didn't have anything basically. But we decided to take this strong direction towards the digital transformation. And of course, we can be thankful for our prime minister at that time, who had a very strong belief into that. And nowadays, this IT association is a main dialogue partner for the government when it comes to the smart people, smart economy, and smart government. So what we want to do is to really be the ones who is advising the governments how to do things in a better way, how to be how to keep up with the innovation. So really like how to constantly build up new solutions that helps actually businesses to concentrate on their business, but not so much of reporting or the bureaucracy. Also, as well, like how to build up the services for the citizens that are actually proactive, that you don't need to go everywhere and apply for the different services, but these services are coming to you. And as well, like how to have the people who are able to help the technology sector to grow, because we need a skilled labor force. And for that, we need to make sure that all the universities and schools are as well providing these skilled people. And Estonia just recently also took up the AI initiative, so to start implementation of AI in the gymnasiums. So in a sense, we call it Tiger Leap or like a AI leap. So it's a similar what we had in the end of 90s when we all this kind of we had a program on the computerization of the schools. So each and every school had their computer classes. And what we can see like 20 years later is that the same people who were coding at these computer classes are now building the technology companies. So it really has this kind of longer term impact. But what we also intend to do is to use AI as much as possible in the tech, how to say, e-health or health tech as well, this kind of proactive services. So what I can see is that the government and everybody is, of course, aware of the risks, but really kind of open to use AI as much as possible to reduce any this kind of bureaucracy or reporting related issues. So this is what we mainly do in ITL, and of course, for me, the main topics are related to women, how to bring them more to the IT sector as well to the sustainability. So how the digital transformation helps to become more sustainable. So it's very clearly connected. And the e-governance academy is consulting and helping governments to build up their digital transformation strategies. And of course, I'm happy that all of them really like take Estonia as an example. But here in Estonia, we also sometimes see that, okay, we can do more, we can do better, we can do quicker. So how to do that?
Amazing. Let's talk about the AI leap or the Tiger leap. We talk about putting that curriculum in
Mhm.
school. How early do the students start learning um, about
So
AI
so
and
now, yeah,
coding?
so this AI leap is now targeted then to this, how to say, the high schooler students, so who are
Yeah.
like 15 plus, and we'll see. So basically, everybody understands that you really need to change how the school system is functioning and how the education works, and in a way, it's a great test bed for the students as well, the AI service providers. So let's see what's happening. But definitely, we have to keep in mind that Estonian students have a very high scores in PISA tests. So we are one of the strongest in that regard. So definitely, I think it's great experience and hopefully as well really contributes to how to say make the educational system more effective and functional for the
For
different
the
for the other
future.
countries as
Yeah.
well.
And do you also train the teachers? Say, look, this is where the future is going, or that we have to adapt with this new technology. And so let's come together and think about our curriculum, update our curriculum, think about how we teach students.
Yeah, I mean, what we have learned as well, I think this in this digital transformation journey is that you understand that you cannot leave anyone behind. So whether it's an elderly people, maybe people who have like limited access, so you need to think of these different groups, and teachers are a very important part of the educational system. But as we see as well that we need to like structurally rethink how to make do things because. In a way, this the sector is also suffering from the lack of teachers. So people are getting older, and therefore there are less teachers. So you need to think of how to use the technology in the best way to actually keep up the quality.
I feel like Estonia is now also a pioneer in this field, and I look forward to see more of the learnings and innovation from this program you just mentioned, AI Leap or Tiger Leap, and see how other parts of the world can learn from that. As it relates to digital societies, where you talk about the e-governance academy and you're advising different governments with the learnings and the things that you have done in Estonia. Um, what are some of the major topics or things that people should think about when it comes to digital societies for the future?
Well, I mean, I think a good example from the recent years is actually the war in Ukraine. So this is really what accelerated this kind of rollout of the different digital solutions in Ukraine that have been, built for years, but as well, it really forced people to start using them because they were going over the borders, for example. They didn't have any physical passports, but they had this digital identity. So I would say that what the other countries maybe can like learn from Estonian experience is that this digital identity has reduced the time for citizens that is required to interact with government. We never go and visit any governmental offices, so we do everything from our computer. But what is also what kind of effect it has is that we have the lowest illegal immigration actually basically in our country because it's very hard to live here without having this digital identity. And even the refugees coming from Ukraine really quickly applied for this ID card, and we could deliver them very quickly. So it really kind of helps as well to society to function better. So there's more trust between the government and the citizens as well. The businesses and citizens simply save time from all these transactions and horrible bureaucratic procedures.
Yeah, I think that's another great insights. And speaking of digital identity and not interacting, going to different governmental offices to get services. I think even 10 years ago, when I was in Estonia, I showed how many ID cards I had in my wallet, and an Estonian friend said we only have one. And
Mhm.
we do everything with that ID, which was eye-opening. And this was already happening many years ago. And we'll talk about digital identity for another time, but it comes back to really, as you said, like trustworthy data, whether it's about timber or it's about the person that will allow that trustworthy or trusted data to persist and to have a valuable kind of impact, because it all sort of starts there.
Mm.
Last question. Any other advice for entrepreneurs, especially women entrepreneurs, or just entrepreneurs in general? Like,
Well, I think in a way, this kind of building a startup is something very, how to say, it's like a hard and expensive self-training program. But you need to understand that it's a marathon. So it's another sprint. And I think the most important understanding is that you need to take care of yourself very well because you need to just be able to keep up and you cannot afford yourself to fall down because there's nobody who's gonna like lift you up. So just kind of even you see if it's going too quick, calm down, go slower, but go forward. And I think as well, what you need to understand is that the people in the sector have similar problems. So it's important to go out and talk to people and network because you sometimes, may end up in understanding that, I'm not the one who has the most horrible problems and the worst problems. There are other people as well. And we have here a very great this kind of circle of female founders, and we meet up regularly and we talk. And of course, the problems are quite similar, but it's always like very helpful to understand that you are not the only one from suffering all of that. And yeah, and as I mentioned at the beginning, it's like very common to say, you know, the market is not ready. Of course, it's not ready, but do you have actually the patience to do this disruption, to make the things happen? So this is the key here.
Great advice, Anna. We'll end there. But thank you so much for sharing your insights and about all the amazing things that you're doing. And thank you for all your contributions to making our societies better.
Thank you, and thank you for the interview.